Good afternoon, and everyone, and welcome to the September 28th, 2020 meeting of the Michigan City Port Authority. This is our first meeting that we've had inside. We're trying to adjust to everybody's security and safety, and if we have any concerns or so, please don't hesitate to speak up, and we'll do our best to take care of them. This is new for all of us, as you understand. Moving forward, approval or correction of last meeting, which was September 14th, the minutes. Looking for approval or correction of those minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Second. We have a motion and a second by Mr. Haynes. Second by Mr. Haynes to approve the minutes. Any questions concerning the minutes in the last meeting? Hearing none, all those in favor of the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Comments from the public. I see we have two representatives from people who I believe are bidding on our project that we're look at open. We have representatives from Larson Danielson and Garia. We've got you down a little farther in the agenda. If you don't mind, it shouldn't take us very long to get down there. If I see that we're getting hung up with a lot of particulars, I will move back and we'll go to the bidding process. Do you have any opening comments you want to say right now, either one of you? Got you. Moving forward. Report from the harbor master, Mr. Frank.
All right, I only have two things I'll touch on today. It's more just informational. We're winding down, of course. This is the end of September, so we've got people leaving. But a couple weeks ago, we were about as full as I can remember we've been. We had 3 slips that weren't rented for the entire season, and that's out of everything. So that includes Washington Park, Trail Creek, and Sprague Point, which I think is pretty amazing. And then, as you know, we've been working around the high water level this year. The water level peaked in July. I think we were 3 inches above the previous record for July. And right now, as of yesterday, we are about 7.5 inches down from the peak in July. So that's good. You can actually see under some of the docks now. And hopefully that trend will continue. That may play into this project that we've got bidding. So the concern is last year, the water level kind of leveled out in the middle of September and then ran flat through the winter. The work we did last year, that didn't really impact it any because the 200 dock is a little higher than the other docks. 4, 5, and 6 are a little lower, so it'd be nice if that water level would keep going down. Normally it declines all the way till the end of December before it bottoms out. So keep your fingers crossed on that. And other than that, I'll just answer any questions that anybody has, and then we'll move on.
Any questions for the harbor master? All right, moving on. Mrs. Palicki, report from the harbor master of administration.
Next Monday is a meeting again, and we're off this month because of the Labor Day holiday. To add on to what the Tim says, this is the first time in many years that many sizes we're back to a waiting list for slips, which is good news. And we're busy in the office with people making appointments for their winter storage.
That's good. Yeah, we've had a real good summer. People worked really hard and filled up this place with the help of Illinois and Michigan, of course. But I think everybody sees what great facilities we have, and it's paying dividends. Excuse me for interrupting.
That's fine. And if anyone could just look over the board sheet and see if there's any corrections that need done, turn it in. To check your email and your address, phone number, things. And that's all I have.
Okay, take a look at those, anything on here that pertains to you, all of you board members. And let's let Mary Ann know so she can update it. Any questions for Mary Ann? Mary Ann, I want to say one thing. You talked about we're having a meeting right away in another week. As you and Tim know, I've kind of looked at for next year a little bit, trying to level out some of the meetings so that we have closer to every 2 weeks for the most part, instead of having one and then another week and then going 3 weeks. So I'll be working with Tim and Mary Ann, maybe a different schedule that we'll have to look at and approve hopefully. All right, moving on. Mr. Gray, reports on the committee's budget and financial oversight.
Yeah, so you notice there's a bigger bill for card members, and that's $7,000 of that is Wi-Fi funds. So that's why that one's bigger than usual. Then also we have a $9,000 bill that's for parts for the dock, for the boxes on the 4x600. Well, I mean, that's pretty much usual, and then fuel for resale. I think we had a good year of fuel, didn't we?
Yeah, the last couple.
Everybody hear that? Okay. All right, anything particular on the dock boxes that we're aware of? Is that just buying new ones, Tim?
No, it's hardware for repairing the ones on the 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Over the winter, while we're doing the project, we're gonna replace whatever hinges and gas cylinders, and we buff and wax them, so it's just repair parts for that.
Okay. The Petro Choice is fuel? Is that the last fuel of the year? No, it probably won't be, excuse me. Okay. All right. Anything else, Socrates, on the...
That's all I have.
All right. Anybody want to make a motion to accept the bills or make any adjustments?
Motion to accept.
Okay, we've got a motion to accept the bills as written. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Gotcha. All right, any questions on the bills? Hearing none. All those in favor for the pay as written, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Hearing no other questions, we'll move on. Claims and insurance. Mr. Haynes?
I have nothing to report.
Just a comment. John, every year we bring the insurance people in.
Yes.
Make a big, if you feel and staff feel that it's not necessary to go through the whole litany of that, and you just want to talk about changes, that's something you might look at.
Okay.
You do what you want, it's your committee.
Okay.
Just a comment.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, moving on. Sam Ferguson, Port Operations, Personnel and Rural Policy. About a couple of things written down. Tim, 2 weeks ago, you mentioned to me that you were looking at a Wi-Fi, maybe update coming in the future. You're just
Right.
thinking about it. Is there anything you could?
No, we picked up some parts for that and working with the IT department to figure out the spacing. So we're gonna rearrange the antenna array out here and add a few more antennas and close up some of the dead spots that we have. So we'll be doing that between now and next year.
Okay, when you finish that, I think the board would appreciate seeing maybe a schematic of what you've got.
Right.
Because I know you think that would cover everything, and I know
Right.
you've got a couple slip holders in here that would love to see that. I know you've shown it to me as just an idea, but I realize you're moving forward with it now. I think that'd be very beneficial to everybody. Other things you've been brought up. Anybody have any questions for me on the operations center? Hearing none, moving on. Mr. Messina, voter communications special events.
A few things I've written down here. I was down most of the day Sunday, and I know it's a lot of boaters starting to take equipment and stuff off their boat and take it over to their vehicle, probably thinking the summer's about done and fall and winter are coming on, so. And a lot of them cleaning their boats. So, that's just a good, a sign that the season is pretty close to being over with. It was like, and I think the cleaning station, our fish cleaning station, has been up all season. I don't think we had any problems that I saw with any mechanical stuff, with any hoses that work. And the gentlemen that clean it every morning, I think, give them an attaboy, because it's always nice and clean. There's never any odor to it, so I think they deserve a, like you say, an attaboy for keeping it nice and updated. I've noticed a lot of political flags being flown within our basin area here, and something I've really never seen that many before. I was going to bring it up, but I think probably by November or something, they probably all come down. So, and it's not that it's really harming or stopping anything. It's not obstructing any navigational play. So that's pretty much all I have for communication.
Anybody have any questions for Dan on motor communication special events? Moving on, Mr. Manor, Master Planning, Special Projects, Park Liaison.
I had no report from the park liaison, and as far as the master planning and special projects, we're gonna get into that in a little while when we start to open their bids. So there's no sense in me in bringing it up now.
Okay. Anything for Bruce? Any questions for Bruce? Thank you, Bruce. Ms. Buettner, Advertising and Public Relations.
Nothing new to report with advertising. I did want to comment on something. Over the weekend I came in, and as you all know, when you're coming into the marina, sometimes in the summer you'll have someone going down the wrong way. And then that can cause you to have to pull over, especially with the sign out there that says slip marina holders only. You kind of have to get really far over depending on the size of that car. And I was just wondering if there's any way we can update those one-way signs, because right now they're like blue and they have like the lighthouse on them. So they're really pretty to look at, and some people that are more used to like the red do not enter signs, they just take it as a suggestion. And for like my car, it's fine to get over, but if someone's in a small like sports SUV or sports convertible, it can be really hard for them to get over. And I just want to prevent any crashes that could happen there. So that's all I have to report.
Okay, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't able, because of the mask, I wasn't able to hear every word.
Yeah.
But that's okay, but don't hesitate to talk to Tim and Mary Ann directly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I appreciate your update on that. Tim, did you have a comment? No?
We got it.
Okay. Anyone have a comment or question for Amanda? Okay, moving on. Moving on to the attorney's report, you have a lot other than the bid process in there?
I don't. I have nothing new to report, but I am prepared to move forward on the bids.
All right, does anybody have a legal concern or question for Mr. Zach Newman? If not, we'll move on to the bid process. All right, hearing none, new business. We're going to be opening up the bids for the Washington Park 4, 5, and 600 dock electrical and decking project. As I said earlier, we have representatives from Larson Danielson and Gary Construction Companies. And I've asked Mr. Zach Newman, which is our normal procedure, our legal representative, to open up those bids. Right after he opens up the bids, we'll have discussion and see what happens after that. Hopefully we'll get some idea of the direction we want to go tonight, and Let's see what happens. Joe, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have 3 bids on the 400, 500, 600 watt electrical and redecking. The first is from Larson Danielson Construction Company, Inc. Okay, the total base bid price for Larson Danielson Construction Company, Inc. is $1,259,805. Again, $1,259,805. Second bid is from R. Yoder Construction, Inc. Okay, the total base bid price for R. Yoder Construction, Inc. is $1,335,180. Again, $1,335,180. And finally, from Garriott Construction Company, Inc. And the total base bid price for Garriott Construction Company, Inc. is $1,453,700. Again, $1,453,700.
Would you repeat all of those just one more time?
For Larson Danielson Construction Company, Inc., $1,259,805. For R. Yoder Construction, Inc., $1,335,180. And for Garriott Construction Company, Inc., $1,453,700.
All right. We thank all the construction companies for bidding, we appreciate this. And, last question.
I know, Larson Danielson is on the board. The location of the other two?
Gary.
Gary's from Gary. I don't know where you're, where our Gary is.
Our order is from Napanee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, thank you very much.
Hello.
Okay, got 3 bids. John, you have your hand up?
Yes. These bids were, make sure everybody's on the same line. This is for the redecking and the electrical on the docks themselves.
Correct. This is for, even more than that, this is for the redecking and the electrical on the docks themselves, as well as the improvements to the landside electrical that supplies the 4, 5, and 6,
Right.
as well as the supply to the 7 and 800.
7 and 8 are getting upgraded.
Right,
Correct. But nothing on the 7 and 800 docks themselves.
right.
And it also doesn't necessarily include NIPSCO. Correct. The bid numbers are for the work by the contractors only. That does not include the work by NIPSCO. Tim and I are still working with them to identify their costs. Their costs will be paid directly by the Port Authority above and beyond what was just listed by Joe.
Okay, I wasn't quite sure because we had, Tim gave a talked at one of the meetings like a month ago, about the base power being replaced also.
Yes.
To do that, and I wasn't quite sure if that was all included in that bid package.
Yes, this includes the contractor's work for that base upgrade, which includes in basic summary, raising all the equipment, replacing it with modern ground fault controls that act as actually 2 layers of protection on the dock systems, as well as replacement of the concrete in front of the 600 dock access to keep that higher and drier, if you will.
I was consumed in thought there. Did you just say 700 and 800 upgrades just now?
Previously it did.
Okay.
But in that process as well, it adds the new electrical supply and distribution that feed the 700 and 800 dock, splitting them off of the other 3 docks.
Right, but it doesn't change the current boxes on the 700.
Correct. Nothing physically on the 700 and 800 dock, including their wiring or their pedestals, is included in this project.
Right. But the supply to the dock is getting upgraded.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because the equipment on the 800 dock, not including the wiring, was done previously. The wiring then and now is submerged under the dock based on its construction type of being all concrete. It's currently inaccessible. That's something that you may want to address later on, but is not in the scope of this.
Okay.
John, answer?
Yes, thank you.
Good.
Let's talk just for a second about the NIPSCO. Could you give us a generalized estimate of what we think we might be looking at with the NIPSCO part?
It depends on how they approach it.
I understand.
But right now we anticipate between a $50,000 and $100,000 number.
Sounds good. That gives us an idea.
And like I said, Tim and I are down the road of trying to narrow that down. But that is our estimate currently.
And what is NIPSCO going to do?
They will be running a new electrical primary, which is they'll put an underground line from across the parking lot to feed the new transformer and then supply that new transformer.
Okay.
As well as temporarily remove the existing transformer to allow us to build the new pad to put it on.
Okay.
Yeah, because at the fish station, we want to raise that transformer. So NIPSCO will have to come and remove it while we build a new pedestal. But then we want to add a transformer just to feed the 700 and 800 dock to relieve some of the load on the fish station transformer. And that also will allow us to feed the 7 and 8 with the full amount that they should be getting based on a load calculation, because right now they're underserved as far as electric.
Yeah, to use basic numbers, the load count is approximately 1,200 amps and is currently being fed with 800 amps. Which, as folks that are here around 4th of July probably know, that can be not enough power on certain occasions.
Obviously, the boats have been getting bigger, consume more power, more TVs, more air conditioners, more refrigerators over the years, and so we're upgrading the 7 and 8 particular for that.
My last comment would be all of the work that is included in this, that we just described, and for the price that Attorney Zach Noon just read, that is all to make you compliant with NEC 2017, which is the current electric code in most states. It is not the current electric code in Indiana. Indiana is on NEC 2008, so that you are voluntarily upgrading to the most current code.
It makes sense. It just dawned on me, Colin, I didn't introduce you tonight, and I apologize. I was consumed with other things. I think we all know Colin from Edgewater Resources. He's here tonight, obviously, to help us get through this process. And again, my apologies.
No problem, thank you.
I know better, but I forgot.
Is there any other questions for me on the bids? Or their content?
I think we're good.
I think all these are pending whether all the applicable material will come.
And the engineering and legal review, yes.
And they all have a start and end date?
Correct. They, all of them are on the assumption that the Port Authority is willing to sign a contract as soon as this Friday, and all of them are required to be substantially complete, which means usable to the owner by April 19th of 2021.
Yeah. Do you have a specific concern? You're heading in a direction there.
No, I was concerned about everything being there, I think, more so than,
Okay.
kind of starting and end date.
I'm just trying to get all the questions out so that everybody gets answered. I particularly like, Socrates, I particularly like the upgrade we're having for the 7 and 800. I've heard that before over the years, and, you know, there have been some brownouts or whatever we call it occasionally, and Tim has mentioned that over the years, so I'm glad we're upgrading that too. And an 800 Docker, that's where I used to be quite a few years ago, so.
So, yeah, well,
All right.
I had to replace 2 radios this year.
All right, any more questions on the bid process so far? Now we're gonna get into dealing with it directly. We've heard what the bids are, we've had good discussion here. I hear no more comments or questions concerning it. Now it's time to decide if we want to move ahead with this. So I'm looking for a motion to do something with these bids.
I make a motion that we, personally, I think Larson Danielson it would be my choice for a couple of reasons. Number one, they've done a lot of work for us in the past, and they do excellent work, and they're good people to work with. Number two, we're saving over $800,000 by going with them rather than the second, and even more than that, rather than going with the Gary. So I'd like to make a motion that we allow Larson Danielson to do this job, and that we put it out for engineering by this Friday. That's my motion.
And we'll need a legal review also.
And a legal review, yes.
Okay, so
I second.
okay, let me restate it just to make sure. I believe this is what you said, Bruce, that you're making a motion to accept the Larson Danielson bid pending engineering and a legal review. The bid being $1,260,000. And we have a second from Socrates. Okay, now we're up for our last chance for questions here. Any questions concerning this motion?
Just a comment, I think Larson Daniels has been reliable as far as their timing, they're dependable. I don't think we've had any negative things about them, and I would be also for them.
That's good. Anyone else?
Who done the work on the 200 document, the update that they did last year?
Yeah, they did 300 and the 200.
Okay.
After that, we only have the 100 left.
Yes, both of those phases were awarded to Larson Danielson.
And just have one question, was there anything that had to be added on, tagged on at the end when they did this, or they met the bid properly?
Both previous phases were done for the bid amount. There was no change orders in either of those contracts.
I also recall that they got done sooner than expected as well, right?
On phase 2, they finished approximately a month early.
That would be for Larson Daniels as well.
I know Tim had a little swapping of some boats for a while on, I think it was phase 2, but I didn't hear of any particular real problems, but.
Yeah, no, when we did the 300 dock, we had to juggle a little bit, but we started the 300 dock late. We started like in February, and so it ran well into April. But Larson Danielson worked around that and closed everything up at the end of each day so people could get through. The 200 dock, like Colin said, they finished pretty much a whole month early, but they started right at the end of October. A lot of it is weather dependent though.
Right.
You just don't know how many days you're gonna lose in the winter. And the other issue with this one now is the water level could interfere. So, but yeah.
Pretty good.
Okay,
Maybe another question for Larson, or for Collins.
Yeah, no problem.
the subcontractors they'll use for the electrical work, are you familiar with them? And would you accept them?
I honestly don't know what subcontractor they're using until that's part of our engineering and legal review, is to vet that out, and make sure that it's someone we feel is confident or, qualified.
Okay.
Good point. Can the engineering and legal, this is all part of our question, we still have to vote
On the Form 95, the subcontractors are listed.
You're going from it.
While they're looking at that, I just have a comment for the three newer board members. This is a significant project we're looking at, obviously. And I would encourage you again, like I have in the last several meetings, don't feel that any question you might have, you shouldn't ask. Please ask, because you're here as fresh voices, fresh faces to help us go forward with this organization. So please do.
Another thing that I might add, there's no problem with us affording this. We have the money to do this, so there's no reason to hold back.
Right.
And we still have quite a bit left over after this, so.
Last part?
We still have some left over after this, you know, I mean,
Yes.
we're not breaking ourselves.
Not at all. Mary Ann wouldn't let us spend money we don't have.
She's got to go forward and tracks.
Mr. Messina, we're going to have an engineering review and a legal review.
No, it's just, the form asks for which parts, it's not directly, the form is a standard form for the city, and it's a little vague on that portion, but part of our vetting process will be to confirm with them who that is.
Okay.
Regardless of whether it's on the form or not, it's still part of our process.
Okay, so the engineer.
Well, let's talk about that just for a second. We're going to have an engineering and legal review. When do you think you'll have enough information to answer Dan's question about who the engineering or the electrical people might be?
I will have that question answered tomorrow.
Okay. No other questions that I hear? I'd like to get a vote process. We've heard the motion. Going to take vote. All those in favor of accepting the motion for this project?
Sam, if I can just comment.
Sure.
The way the contract is put together by Edgewater and reviewed by your attorney as well, the simple answer is they have to be qualified to meet all the requirements, and regardless of who they pick, they're still obligated to ensure that all that work is complete. Regardless of what their electrical subconsultant has in their bid, the Larson Danielson is still contractually responsible for ensuring that work gets done and done to our satisfaction and per the electric code.
Good.
Good.
Yeah, you may want to have a roll call on the vote.
What? Could it go with a roll? You want a roll call vote?
On the vote.
All right, we'll have a roll call vote.
Mr. Manor?
Pardon me?
Aye. Aye.
Mr. Gray?
Aye.
Mr. Messina?
Aye.
Mr. Haynes?
Aye.
Mr. Childers?
Aye.
Amanda? Mrs. Jutner?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
7 ayes.
7-0. All right, motion's passed. Thank you, everyone. We'll keep the communications going on how we process this from forward.
We will, from Edgewater side, we'll complete our review and give our recommendation directly to the harbor master.
Okay.
And I will complete the legal review probably tomorrow or Wednesday.
Okay. And you'll report that. We're gonna meet next week, so we'll finalize any questions we have on that.
Colin, I just need for you to send me a copy of them to send for the.
Yep, everything will be scanned in the morning and EEO portions will be passed along to Mary Ann.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. President,
Okay.
as a result of the speedy action we're getting from two gentlemen here, how soon can we get Larson Danielson to start this dock work? Tim, any idea?
Them starting will be dependent on having the contract in place, and the slowest portion of getting the contract in place, once we have reviewed, will be for them to get their bonds and insurances in order. Due to the significant cost of this project, they are obligated to have performance and payment bonds to ensure that they pay their subcontractors and the electricians and suppliers and all that, to make sure that the Port Authority isn't on the hook for paying for anything twice, if you will. In my experience, that takes approximately a week, depending on how busy their bonding or their insurance agencies are. So I would anticipate they could start within the next 2 weeks.
That's what I wanted to hear.
And some of that, Bruce, is gonna depend on how quickly slip holders leave.
Right.
But as other places open up, let's say they decide they want to start on the 400 dock, we'll try to move people out of the way,
Okay.
and hopefully we'll have enough other places to move them to. But as we go into October, more and more people are going to be leaving, so it should work out all right.
Yeah, my biggest concern was trying to get as much of this done before the real hard winter sets in, so.
Right.
The other key piece in that, Bruce, is the decking supplier for the Kevney decking, which is a rare product, if you know.
Right.
Since we've already done 2 phases with them, they actually have 2/3 of the material stockpiled in Lansing.
I was aware of
that they've acquired it in good faith of this proceeding. So the 400 and 500 docks could be decked as soon as they're ready.
That's great. Good, thank you.
Should we send out emails to the people on those docks just to say, hey, if you're gonna stay longer, would you mind moving over ahead of time? So I just,
Yeah, we'll be working on that this week now that we've gone ahead and moved forward here.
All right. All right, so we've approved the project unless there's a problem with engineering or legal, we'll be going forward.
The only other comment is just that, like we said before, nothing's finalized with NIPSCO, given the way the process works. And Tim and I will be continuing to coordinate with them, and get that finalized as soon as possible to ensure that there isn't a delay on that end as well.
All right. Thank you. Let's close this out. I don't see any old business, unless someone has some old business to bring up.
Yes.
Go ahead, John.
The ESD signs, were those put up, or was there a location that they're gonna put up
yeah, they're on the 800 dock. I've seen one there.
on the 800 dock?
There should be at the beginning of each dock.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Good looking signs too.
Yeah.
They get your attention.
Has anybody commented on them, what they are and what they're for? No?
Not that I've heard.
Okay.
Any other old business? No guests? Let's go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Anybody make a motion to adjourn, please?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Sounds good. We're adjourned. Next week, next Monday night.